in the cut with Corrupt, come and play with me. It's on and poppin', all I see is green, so there ain't no stopping. Talking about I thought this was a gangster party, now you walking around salty as the sea. Catastrophic, mystic is missile flick, hitting them C's like pits, the deadliest lyricist. If you come up with me on my crew, but you can't, so don't even think about it.
Snoop Dogg, Dash, Trading, Corrupt, the family business, mother. Yeah, we f***ing it up.
You know, and guys that was saying we stole their style, you know, that was probably the biggest beefs that we had.
When the West Coast ruled, one group was the sound. Jazzy beats, raw truth, no one touched them, then bam, just like that, they split.
You know, after Dr. Dre left, I was the first one to leave. Not Snoop, not Daz, nobody. Me, I was the first one to leave from the Dogg Pound.
Bruh, that was tough. Like watching your favorite duo walk off stage mid-performance, kind of tough. But fate wasn't done with them yet. Against all odds, they linked back up, and fans, we were here for it. Let's get it straight. The Dogg Pound are West Coast legends. Corrupt, November the 23rd, 1972, and Daz Dillinger, May 25th, 1973, didn't just rap. They wrote the blueprint for G-Funk, one verse at a time. In 1992, the Dogg Pound signed early with Death Row.
Kim, you know what I'm saying? That's somebody who I always looked at as being different from every other MC.
Corrupt and Daz were solo until Dre heard their chemistry and made it official.
We were together all the time. You know, we just said, man, we might as well make a group, because we were solo with Death Row, each one of us. So we came up with the Dogg Pound. You know, he's Snoop.
It's all about entrepreneuring things. You know what I mean? We businessmen.
After that, everywhere. Doggy Style soundtracks, Death Row classics.
He was like, man, anything with Snoop, bam. And that's how we got our first record is the Dogg Pound, the Poetic Justice soundtrack, Tupac and Janet Jackson.
Even linked with MC Hammer on Funky Headhunter. Pure West Coast power. And that was just the start. The Dogg Pound weren't just in hip-hop, they were hip-hop. Fast forward to 1995. Peak West Coast. The Dogg Pound dropped their debut, Dog Food, under Death Row, and bruh, it went nuclear, straight to #1 on the Billboard 200. No slow grind, just lift off.
And I just said what was on my mind. What's your name, fool? And Dr. Dre loved it, like Snoopy loved it. And that was the beginning of learning.
The hits, Let's Play House had everybody in their feelings, landing top 50 on the Hot 100. But New York, whew, that was straight smoke. Daz and Snoop Godzilla stomping through NYC, low-key throwing shots at the East Coast. Loud, bold, pure West Coast warfare on a beat. October came, and Death Row got even wilder. Suge bailed out Tupac, locking him in for 4 albums. The roster? Legendary now.
To the Death Row floor, go in, pop the studio on. Daz knew how to work the equipment because Warren G. Dr. Dre taught him how to work the board.
1996, the Dogg Pound was all in with Pac. Corrupt laced All Eyes on Me with Got My Mind Made Up and Check Out Time, while Daz kept the beats deadly. Then 98 hit, boom, Corrupt walked away from Death Row.
I'll be honest, you know, when my homeboy Tupac got killed, shit was boring.
But he never turned his back on Daz or the Pound.
Yeah, he left. He was gone already. He was in Philly.
Corrupt dropped Corruption and Thaw Streets is a Mutha, still showing love. Daz? He fought his own battles, dropped Retaliation, Revenge, and Get Back, tried mob-style music, flopped, then made his move, launching DPG Records. By December 1998, Daz cut Death Row loose.
I suckered them for the reels. I went and took all the reels and made all blanks, rewrote the titles on there, and gave them the reels.
By 2000, Daz and the Dogg Pound were free and still dangerous. But the drama? Oh, it was just getting started. See, Suge Knight wasn't letting go easy. After the Dogg Pound split from Death Row, Suge straight up claimed he owned the name The Dogg Pound and any tracks they recorded before leaving.
But we're about to talk to the other half of the Dogg Pound to see what his take on it was.
Wild, right? To dodge a messy legal war, Daz rebranded the group as DPG, short for Dogg Pound Gangstaz. Smooth move, but Suge had tricks of his own. In a cold and calculated move, Suge dropped an album called 2002 in 2001. Packed with unreleased Dogg Pound tracks from their Death Row days. It was clear Suge was still trying to squeeze the juice from what Daz and Corrupt left it behind.
But I was trying to get it from Death Row because they were trying to steal it from me. And then I had to show that I was the creator of making it. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a lot of stealing going on.
But it didn't stop with label beef. The Dogg Pound was also knee-deep in a lyrical war with Bone Thugs and Harmony. But as years passed and egos cooled, peace came in the form of features and mutual respect.
You know, and guys that was saying we stole their style, you know, that was probably the biggest beefs that we had.
Snoop and Kurupt showed up on Crazy Bones' Thug Mentality 1999 with The War Is On. Kurupt later linked with Flesh and Bone on Corrupted Flesh. And Crazy hopped on 2 tracks with Daz in 2008 and 2009. Now, just when you thought the Dogg Pound seen it all, nah, the beef buffet wasn't over yet. These guys also locked horns with BG Knockout and Dresta. Yup, that whole mess kicked off as part of the bigger Death Row versus Ruthless saga. But fast forward a few years, and peace actually found its way into the picture. They squashed the beef like real grown folks and even cooked up a track together called Blaze It Up, tucked in as a bonus on the Dogg Pound's Dog Chit album. Who would have thought? But hold up, there's more heat. See, Daz and Kurupt weren't just beefing with Ruthless Records. Nah, they went full throttle when Suge Knight and Tupac declared war on Bad Boy Entertainment. But just when things seemed to simmer down, boom. Late 2002, the rap world got blindsided. Kurupt, Mr. DPG himself, pulled a stunt that had jaws on the floor. Out of nowhere, he took a gig as executive producer at Death Row. Yeah, that Death Row. The same label they'd all left behind dissed and warned about.
He offered me this position, and that's what I wanted to do at that time. I wanted to be the one that finds new talent.
And DPGC, they felt straight up betrayed.
Because my friends, my family really didn't agree with that decision, but I just had to get it out my system, and he gave me that opportunity.
Daz, Superfly, Snoop, everybody was heated. They fired back hard, dissing Kurupt left and right like it was open season. Fans were shocked. Like, bro, why would Kurupt go back? Was it loyalty? Was it a power move? Nobody knew for sure, but Kurupt stood 10 toes down and fired back just as hard.
Well, he changed our lives. Like I tell everybody, man, he did no bad to me. Suge always supported us. He was good.
He claimed they were the ones who flipped, not him. In his eyes, they left Death Row for dead, and he was just trying to bring it back to life.
You don't know it until you live it, man. Once you're on that train, cuz, you just ride, man. Coming from the ghetto.
War was officially declared. In the early 2000s, the West Coast shook. Between 2003 and 2004, the Dogg Pound was at war. Diss tracks flying, underground beef exploding. Daz fired first. You ain't shit. I don't give a f. Brutal, unfiltered. Kurupt answered with originals, pure fire. Burned through the streets. It felt like the beef was eternal. Diss after diss, track after track. But in 2005, everything changed. Death Row crumbled. Kurupt walked away. And Daz, he forgave. Brothers once more. They dropped Dillinger and Young Gotti too, backed by Snoop, Nate Dogg, Warren G, and more. Then in 2006, the movement grew. Cali Is Active hit hard. West Coast Pride at full blast. 2007, Dog Chit dropped. Rumors swirled about Cash Money deals. Singles like Ch-Ching stirred up buzz, but fate had other plans. West Coast Aftershock stalled. 100 Ways delayed. Still, they pushed through, dropping That Was Then, This Is Now, Keep On Riding, and finally 100 Ways in 2010. The grind didn't stop. 2011, Forever in a Day with Snoop. 2012, That's My Work Volume 1 hit the streets. 2021, Teasing, Dog Food 2, 2024. Smoke Up dropped. A surprise announcement, WAWG, We All We Got, was coming under Death Row Records. May 31st, 2024, WAWG dropped, and the Dogg Pound roared back to life. And now, the story's far from over. So, Kurupt, man, this dude's love life has been a roller coaster. Back in the late 90s, he was all wrapped up in a relationship with none other than Foxy Brown.
He's Foxy Brown. When I called home and told them, yeah, my girlfriend's Fox, they loved that more than they loved the fact that I was Kurupt.
Yeah, you heard me right. Foxy Brown, that's some straight up hip hop royalty right there.
Then when I got with Foxy Brown, I knew it was real. I mean, my girlfriend is the biggest shit in the globe.
They were engaged from 97 to 99, but it didn't last due to her alleged cheating ways.
Gave me hardcore head. You know what I'm saying? Hardcore head. I ate up, but I never
up.
Fast forward to the early 2000s, Corrupt gets hitched again, this time to Natina Reed, but even that didn't last. They split in 2002 after having their son, Tren Brown. But wait, the drama ain't over. In 2007, Corrupt married Jovan Brown, but in 2017, she hit him with the divorce papers. Man, talk about a roller coaster. Then, in 2020, Corrupt shows up on Marriage Boot Camp with his new girl Toni Calvert. Yeah, that season had a lot of people talking, and to top it off, Corrupt has been addicted to alcohol for years, and allegedly Pac introduced him to it.
We all have an addiction to something, alcohol or whether it's drugs. These are demons that you have to fight yourself.
Now Daz keeps it low-key. He doesn't spill his business all over the internet, but we do know this. Daz has 5 kids. Yup, 5. His crew includes Imoni, Xylan, Dillinger, Derringer, and his youngest with his lovely wife, Kenya Ware. Family man, huh? Keeping it solid with his kids and wifey. So here's where it gets real. Corrupt, now 52, is sitting on a net worth of around $500,000. He's been through a lot, but the man's still grinding. And Daz, at 51, isn't far behind with a net worth of about $300,000. Not bad, right?
Hey, the greatest gift is living. Anything else is secondary. Just appreciate it, spread it out.
These guys are still making it work after all these years. The Dogg Pound ain't going nowhere. We're just sitting here waiting to see what they drop next. Stay tuned, because we know they ain't finished yet.